Hello friends, and welcome to the Urban Homesteading channel. If today is your first time visiting with us, we want to extend to you a very warm welcome and invite you to view any of our over 420 videos that we've arranged for your convenience in playlists, as we are confident you're going to find something both entertaining and useful. If you have been here before but you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do subscribe. If today is your birthday, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. One of the problems we've identified with our woodworking since we moved in our apartment is we have a very hard time making straight cuts. Would you agree?
Yeah, that is a problem.
And while the saw we got at Christmas did alleviate some of that issue, it really didn't alleviate all of it, and it is not really the appropriate tool for every cut we make. So today we decided to build a jig that will allow us to make better, more straight cuts using our jigsaw. Of course, immediately we faced a problem. We had to cut lumber in a straight way, something that we don't have the ability to do. That's why we're building the jig. So what we did is we went down to our home center, and we have the little, not the little, I guess that's the helpful clerk there, cut us the dimension we want out of fairly thin ply. And I don't know, did they charge us for that service, or it was free?
No, they didn't. It was free.
Okay, so
a very big saw that can cut any dimension.
So we're going to put this right here for you to see, and we'll be right with you. And we are back with the piece cut, and the dimensions, we don't need to give them to you because they really depend on the width of your saw blade, right? Mm-hmm. So for our saw blade, we calculate the dimensions, and we had a little measuring tape with us because we didn't know what wood we were going to find for this process. Mm-hmm. So with those two pieces for wood and the dimensions of our saw, we calculated the width of the plank. And we need to make two more cuts here to bridge this area on the front and the back of the jig. Mm-hmm. And also a cut here. We need to do a lot of straight cuts that we don't have the ability to do. But in any case, this is the general idea. As you can see, a piece of wood that the width will really depend on the saw you have, and also the pieces of wood you're going to use to make your rails. Mm-hmm. Of course, you will need your saw to test it throughout the process, and we're going to use glue and our staple gun with very short staples to do that. And we use the short staples we have. If they go through, we'll just have to use our Dremel to cut them off, but the idea is there. So we need to make several cuts. Cut a small piece from each of those two to bridge this space here in both sides.
Close it off.
And then with whatever length we're left, that will be the length of the jig, and we need to cut this then to that length.
Right, because it's a little bit longer than our side pieces.
All right, so let's get going. Start by roughly placing our jigsaw into the pieces of wood that become our jig, and then measuring this distance, and it is 2 3/4. Is that what it reads? Just shy of 3/4.
Yeah, just 2 3/4. Yep.
And I'm going to do the same in the front of the saw, and it is very consistent, so we know that this is the correct measurement, right? So now we need to take 2 3/4 off from either side of the sword pieces. Okay, using the same measuring tape, again a tip is not to use different tapes because they might have minute differences. We mark 2 3/4, and then using our square, we are going to, and you need to do that on both pieces, the best use of space, and you will end up with the longest piece by taking a small piece from each of the two thin rails, right? And we try to decide, go ahead. We're trying to decide what we're going to use to make this cut because the jig is not ready yet. Now we use very thin ply. I don't even remember how thin the ply was, do you?
No.
But it was very thin. And the reason for that is because jigsaws don't have a great capacity for cutting, and okay, good. And we don't want to lose even more capacity by using a thick piece of wood as the bottom. So now we're going to get situated to make those two cuts, and we'll be right. So we're set up here. We put the two pieces together, so we're going to make one cut, and we'll cut through both of them.
We clamped it to make sure they stay together.
Yeah, we have two clamps. And then we're using the fence guide on our saw. And here is our line, right? So now we're going to make, hopefully, one successful cut. Success or failure?
Well, it looks like success to me.
Yeah, they look actually pretty good. It's a good cut. All right, can you see?
Yep.
This is a little fuzzy, and I suspect this was the top, because this looks perfect. You know? But this is not a bad cut, though. I mean, here.
Yep.
So I think this will do. All right, let us set up for the glue up now.
Well, we haven't cut. Didn't you say we were going to cut this?
After we glue this on, it will be easier. I guess it makes no difference what you want to do. We know now the length we want it. So we have put it in a dry fitting mode, and we think, and hopefully we'll be correct, that it will be easier to cut it when we are finished, right? But now we're going to use our very trusty staple gun and some glue to attach it. So, by the way, this is the same way that you make, are they called Saker styles?
Yeah.
Saker style doors.
Like cabinet doors. Yeah.
This is an easy way to make those doors, and at some point in the future we'll probably do that. What?
Nothing.
Well, I'm waiting.
Okay.
So put some glue in the middle. Okay. You don't want to turn it over?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, can you put a staple there?
Yep.
On that side, and then come and put a staple on this side? Just towards the end, love. Towards the end. There.
I just.
Well, wherever you want. Okay, and then So this is the temporary stapling, and we'll
now
go
we'll
back
glue
and
and
attach the small piece, the bridge piece. And you might want to put 2 staples, one on each.
Hurry.
All right. You want to do this side? And now we're going to glue and attach the other one. In the small, we're going to only put 2 tacks. Now, if this works, I have plans on how to expand it even further and make it more useful. What are you doing, love?
I just want to make it completely square.
You need to worry only from the inside. I don't care about the outside.
I just want to. It's slippery.
Yeah, because it's just glue.
Yeah, I know. I know why it's slippery.
All right. And the process, of course, is the same. This is a fairly simple jig. So we're showing you everything in almost real time. No trickery behind the camera, right? Of course, we never do that. We're not one of those kind of channels, right? You can do it there, and there's an opening there where it was before. I think I'm gonna put one more here, and let's. Okay, now take the saw and see if it goes in. So does it go without difficulty?
It's not catching at all.
Okay,
But
good.
it's nice. It's nice support.
Okay.
We're just gonna finish.
Yeah, we're going to put a few more staples, and then we'll be right back with you. It's okay.
Thought I did.
You need to do this side now.
I know. I'm just resting these in that groove, and I'll
Okay.
put it in the groove.
You need to lift it again, honey, when it doesn't fire. Okay.
Need one more.
Yeah. Okay. And we didn't have any shorter ones, so they are protruding over the back. So what we're going to do is that we're going to bring our Dremel really quickly and cut them off.
I really don't like you doing right there.
Now, if this was furniture, we would have used thicker plywood if we were making doors. So we wouldn't have this problem. Well, it's not really a problem. This is a little bit of an annoyance, right? And it also comes from us not being in our shop because we don't have all the sizes of brads that we need. It's easier if you come from the other way, from the angle. Plus, everyone wants to see sparks, right?
What?
Everyone wants to see sparks.
Oh yeah, it's a fireworks. Sparklers. But we do need it to be, flat.
Yeah, Dremels are really amazing tools. And Miss Wizard wants to be perfect on everything. This is a jig, honey.
I know, but it still needs to be flat.
All right. It's good. It's a cutting wheel, not a grinding wheel, though. All right. And as you can see now, we have a nice flat surface with a lot of character.
Yeah.
And we need to cut that last piece. And you can see how that resembles a cabinet door. So this is the basic construction of a cabinet door. Again, more than likely we'll build cabinet doors in the future and show you exactly. There's very little differences between this and a cabinet door, but it is essentially the same build. So we'll be right with you, right? Anything you want to say?
Nope, we're good.
We're good? All right, friends, so we're set up to cut the little extra piece there. And I'm going to keep my laser just at the edge, just off this. You see there, it's on. I don't know if it's visible on the camera.
Yeah.
And right there it's off. And this is where we want our laser to make a straight cut, right?
Right.
So we're going to try. This is a tricky cut, and again, I'm not totally perfect with this machine yet. Not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's check and see if a final check that the jigsaw can go through. Where is our jigsaw? Okay, hold on. I need to take the clamps off. We might need a second Pegasus though. Alright, I want to take. Alright, folks, we'll get situated and we'll be right back. The jigsaw on the jig. And we're going to make a mark and then make a hole under the. I think you're too much forward, aren't you?
Well, I don't know.
How wide is the blade? Yeah, go directly in front, I guess. Yeah.
Here?
Yeah. It is the most important is that it is in the center where the blade comes off. Yeah. Just make a mark. All right. And now we are going to remove the saw and choose one of our. How wide should we make it, do you think?
I'm going to say half
Okay.
to be safe.
Where are our blades? Let's see. If every blade will go through this.
I would say yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is that we want a hole that the blade can go through, right? So we're going to do that now. And here's our mark. And we'll simply go through. Hold on. All right, let's put a blade on. What blades we would choose? So we'll put the blade on and we're going to show you the next step. All right, and we're homemade. We clamp the piece, and the whole idea is that we put the blade through the little hole, and you see this is the start of our, so we know exactly where we start. Does that make sense? And we start from the edge here. Stop recording. I'm hitting the clamp. I'm hitting the clamp.
Up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, continue.
I didn't see anything down here.
So we stopped because I was hitting the clamp here. So we will continue now. Now we probably need to do another hole there to make sure that the clamp comes out easier. I must subconsciously be turning it always the other direction when I'm done, because I always find it in the wrong place. And you can see this is a very nice straight line. We're positioning the boards now to make a first test cut. And we're checking that we have a 90-degree angle between our jig and the board we're going to cut.
Yep.
And let's make sure that that the jig will not hit the clamp. Okay, that's good. And let's do a test cut, folks. So we have clamps on both sides. And the reason for that is otherwise this will not be straight. It will put a lot of stress on our jig, right? And now we're going to make the first cut. No. I don't know what the blade is. Right, and this is our cut. We'll probably have to perfect it a little bit. And overall, actually did a good job of not tearing too, because the plywood is against it. And this is the cross section, and I think it did a very good job.
Yep.
It will take a little bit of using to get really good at this. But other than that, I think, hold on a second, let me show you the quality of the joint you can achieve from this. And here it is, folks. I think that's a pretty darn good joint. What do you think, Mrs.
Yeah. It's
Wizard?
really tight.
So we are very happy with the performance of this jig, and again, I'm going to work into refining it. And if I find really critical environments, right off the bat I will say use a little thicker, not plywood, but the boards, what you will call those, the side boards. Because there is a fair amount of flex. I don't know if you can see it in the camera.
Yep.
But there is a fair amount of flex on it, and if you do not support it very well, then you're going to have a little bit of movement. But still, even if you do it in this way, that is a drastic improvement over freehanding it.
Right.
So overall, we're very happy with this. All right, friends, and that concludes our build. This is our jig, and this is the cut we made with that jig, which we are very happy with. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
So it has virtually no tear. And that is not the blade, because if you see, the blade tears the wood quite a lot, right?
Yeah.
So the jig both makes nicer, cleaner cuts and also straighter cuts. As we're using it, I'm sure I'm going to do some fine tuning, but this took what, about an hour, even with filming?
Yeah.
It is not a very difficult build, and I think it's going to help us elevate our woodworking. Don't you agree?
Yeah. And we've got some extra wood from our, we got a decent deal on that piece of wood, and we got it cut just the way we needed it at the store. And then we have extra left over for another project.
Now the store cuts are not perfect to 1/8 of an inch, but definitely if you don't have a way to do better cuts, it is the best that you will do. Like for us, we wouldn't be able to make that cut.
Right, until now.
No, I mean this cut. On the...
Right.
I mean that is pretty, I don't know if you can see it.
Yep.
But now we'll be able to.
Exactly, that's why I said till now.
To achieve that. It is important when you do that, you put not only your piece of wood, but more wood. It is important that this jig is supported, because it doesn't have enough strength. Maybe I could have used thicker pieces, I don't know. But it doesn't have enough strength not to flex when you're cutting. So, but using 1 or 2 more pieces of the same thickness, it doesn't even have to be the same wood, it has to be the same thickness, produces very good results. Again, I think that's a very good result here. This is a great cut.
Yep.
Did it go out of focus?
Nope.
I can move it. All right, friends. If you did enjoy this short episode, we do ask that you give us a thumbs up. If you loved it, we ask you that you subscribe. Please do share, like, subscribe, and let us know what else you will see in this channel. From the Garage Wizard and Mrs. Wizard, from the Urban Homesteading channel, we wish you a great week, and we're going to see you soon. Farewell, friends.